On today's show, the LA Clippers faced the Dallas Mavericks yet again on the road, but this time Kyrie Irving would play and the Clippers would not come out with the win. Was it the simple addition of Kyrie Irving that was too much for the Clippers, or did they lose because of their own mistakes? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and in my 20th season as a Clipper fan, and also been covering the Clippers on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for 5 years now, where you can find LA Clipper, LA Sports, and NBA content. And of course, my third season right here on Locked On Clippers, your place for all things Clippers, 5 days a week, also available on YouTube. Now, Locked On Clippers now has a daily newsletter, your one-stop shop for all things LA Clippers. Your boy writes the newsletter. And where can you go to sign up? LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Clippers newsletter. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. All right, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about whether or not the Clipper loss to the Mavericks 113-97 with Kyrie Irving back in the lineup was self-inflicted, or were they just too much? And then I'm also going to be talking about the Clippers backcourt, James Harden, Norman Powell, how I felt they performed. And then so much conversation surrounding KPJ. I'll be highlighting him and Mo Bamba at the end. But let's talk about this one. Kyrie Irving back in the lineup. You already know that changes a lot of things, right? Kyrie is one of the best in the league. He was, I thought, the best player in the series against us last year against Dallas. But we lost this game 113-97, but that scoreline doesn't really reflect how close of a game this was. We had it down to 100-94 with just a couple minutes left in the game, but they ended up pulling away and had huge second and fourth quarters, where our defense wasn't as good as we'd like it to be. But look, Kyrie Irving coming back, that made the difference. Even though he shot 6 for 25 from the field, his mere presence gave them a star on the floor. It gave them a guy that we had to focus on, that we were double teaming late in the game. So yes, a large reason we lost was because of the presence of Kyrie Irving. But there's two sides to every coin, and Nick on Locked On Mavs will tell you Kyrie Irving being back, Quentin Grimes, the way he played, that's the reason they won. But we're Locked On Clippers, and I think that we made some big mistakes at the end of the game when we came back that cost us the game. So do I think this was a golden opportunity missed? Not really, because the Dallas Mavericks this season going into this game were 5-2 without Luka Doncic. So it's not like they're bums without their best player either. You know what I'm saying? They're a good team as well without their best player, just like we are. Who's better? Who's a better team? The Clippers without Kawhi or the Mavericks without Luka? I'd put my money on us, but I think if you're a Mavs fan, you're probably thinking we're better. So point being, both teams are pretty solid without their best players because Kyrie Irving and James Harden can do some great things. But I thought we made some big mistakes at the end of the game when we were making a run. And, after the first quarter, we were only down by 1, 22-23. And going into the fourth, we had some momentum, cut it down to 8. And then Norman Powell, after having a pretty rough shooting game outside of the first quarter, because in the first quarter, Norm was 3 for 3 from the field with 7 points. He got going, though, in the first and fourth, brought us back to 100-94, which sparked an 11-2 run by us. But then we had some really bad moments where Norm had a really bad foul against Spencer Dinwiddie. Chris Dunn stepped out of bounds when he was in the corner. KPJ got the ball poked away from him from behind. Then Harden had a horrible cross-court pass. And all those came in basically one after the other, so like in succession. And that basically killed off any chance we had of trying to steal that game. And I say steal because we were down most of the night. We didn't shoot the ball well. We shot 42% from the field. They shot 45.5%. We shot 27% from 3. They shot 40%. So that made a huge difference. Free throws, funny enough, it was the exact same percentage and the exact same amount of made makes and attempts. Both teams were 19 for 22 from the line. So identical in the free throw percentage department, but field goal percentage and three-point percentage, they were better than us. And then where we also hurt ourselves was the turnovers. 17 turnovers for us to the Mavericks 13. And if you're wondering, well, who turned the ball over a lot? Well, 7 of those 17 were from James Harden, but I'll elaborate more on his individual performance alongside Norman Powell as well in the next segment. But we were turning the ball over too much. We didn't shoot well. That's not necessarily a recipe for success. So do I think that this was a big opportunity missed or something? Not really. We took one in Dallas. That's great. We're going to be, over 500 through 30 games. Even if we lose this next game against Memphis on Monday, we are going to be over 500 through 30 games. And I think that's a huge win. But as far as this game, yeah, I thought that we kind of had a chance to make it closer. And there were a lot of just boneheaded mistakes. And somebody who really stepped up for the Dallas Mavericks in this game was Quentin Grimes. He was on fire. 20 points on 7 for 8 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3, and 3 for 3 from the foul line. And I have to say, after he makes a couple threes, we can't just leave him open. We're doubling Kyrie, and honestly, I think with how good our defense has been this season, we should let Kyrie Irving work one-on-one and make a tough shot, not leave the guy who's scorching hot open from 3. That's just my personal opinion. It was getting ridiculous. We kept leaving him open over and over, and at that point, to me, when you're rotating on pick and rolls defensively, sometimes you have to make a choice. Do you take away the roller or do you take away the three-point shooter? The right way to play basketball is you take away the roller because that's a dunk. But when a guy's scorching hot from 3, you might have to just live with it. That's what they do with Steph Curry. I'm not saying Quentin Grimes is Steph Curry, and it's easy to say in hindsight, but 3 is worth more than 2, right? Everybody loves that narrative. So when it comes to defense, I think that applies as well when a team is, cooking up, or one guy is cooking up from deep. You know what I'm saying? So now looking at the defensive rating right now in the NBA, I just wanted to give an update on that. The Oklahoma City Thunder, number 1. Clippers are still in 6th place. The Minnesota Timberwolves, even after their loss, the New York Knicks are above us still, which is wild because they didn't start the season off well defensively, but now they're back in that top 5 defense. And, with Rudy Gobert, guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, they have that kind of personnel. But remember, we don't even have Kawhi Leonard yet. So think about what we could be when Kawhi comes back. But overall, self-inflicted mistakes, I think that really hurt us. Could have gotten us a chance to get back in it. Do I think we generated enough good shots? I really do. I don't think our offense was that great, but I think we still generated enough good shots. But that's the thing about our team. We're not a good offensive team, especially without Kawhi. So this is just gonna happen some nights. We're gonna have bad shooting games. Our defense could have been better. I mean, allowing 39 points in the fourth. I think a lot of it was not knowing not adjusting to how hot Quentin Grimes was, and then 31 points allowed in the second quarter. I think that was really exacerbated by the fact that we only had 18 points offensively, and without Luka, one thing Dallas likes to do is they like to push pace more, with Kyrie. So when we were so cold in that second quarter, they were able to get 30-plus points. And in the other quarters, they did not score. They scored 23 and 20 in the first and third. So kept them in check for 2 quarters, but allowing over 30 points, especially 39 points in the fourth quarter, that's not going to get us a win. So we just weren't good enough in this game. I think we stuck we were our own worst enemies a little bit. But, hey, Kyrie Irving's a special player. He made a big impact. But I don't think it's anything to be too worked up about. Coming up, though, when you talk about winning games on the road and just winning basketball games in general, you got to look at your best players. I'm going to be talking about our backcourt coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Skylight frames. You want to celebrate with and stay connected to people who are far away. During the holiday season, I know there are so many people that you just can't spend the time with that you'd like. They live somewhere else. They're gone for work. Maybe they're on vacation. And you want to still keep in contact with them. But we've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy to use. The setup takes less than a minute. And you can invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. No account or subscription required. And the touchscreen is a game changer. You can swipe through photos, tap to see new photos sent, tap the heart button to say thank you to the sender. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/NBA. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NBA. Get $20 off a Skylight frame at skylightframe.com/NBA. All right, talking about this one, Clippers losing 113-97 to the Dallas Mavericks without Luka Doncic. Apologies for releasing this episode on Monday instead of Sunday. I had Pepperdine duty on Saturday, got home late, and I had to watch the game, and I ended up watching the game at like 3 in the morning, and then I had club basketball practice on Sunday morning, so apology. I just figured I'd make it the Monday episode, so I will be better. I really apologize for that. I also did go live on my own channel, though, so sometimes I'll go live on my channel before. So if you really want an instant reaction, you can go to my channel, and then I try to gather my thoughts to make it a little bit more concise for this. So speaking of which, let's talk about the backcourt for the Clips. James Harden, Norman Powell. To begin the game, we had Kyrie Irving guarding James Harden. And I thought he did a pretty good job one-on-one on James Harden and Kevin Porter Jr. Felt like he knew what they were going to do a lot of times. Knew they were going for the step back. There was one time where he just took Kevin Porter Jr.'s lunch. But then they switched P.J. Washington on Harden for a bit. But the Mavs, they were switching 1 through 4. So they had no problem having P.J. Washington guard James Harden. And we don't have our power forward we're playing is Derrick Jones Jr. He's a small forward. Derek Lively was guarding Ivica Zubac. Klay Thompson on Derrick Jones Jr. Spencer Dinwiddie on Norman Powell. And then P.J. Washington on Chris Dunn. On our side, we had Chris Dunn guarding Kyrie Irving, Ivica Zubac on Derek Lively, Derrick Jones Jr. on Klay Thompson, Harden on P.J. Washington, and then Norman Powell on Spencer Dinwiddie, and we were switching 1 through 4. Now, 1 through 4 as well. For the second consecutive game, Derek Lively was coming up to the level of the screen when Norman Powell was either being set an on-ball screen or an off-ball flare screen or any kind of, I don't want to care to get technical, but off-ball or on-ball screen. He was coming up to the level to take away that 3 on the catch and shoot or off the dribble. Just take away Norman Powell's 3s. And, I think he did a decent job passing out of it. Norm had a lot of good looks. He just wasn't hitting in this game. 8 for 22 from the field for him and 3 for 11 from 3. The one place he shot really well was the foul line, 9 for 10. He did, however, finish with 28 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and just 1 turnover, and he played 42 minutes. So all in all, I do think Norman Powell played the best of anybody on the Clippers, but 8 for 22, 3 for 11 from 3. That means he was 5 for 11 from 2, so pretty efficient. I thought he did a great job of getting to the basket, but do I think it was a good game for him? Not really. And then defensively, he's not really going to do much. He's not really creating shots for others that much. So, I don't know. He did score his 28, but he didn't do it efficiently, and he's not giving you that much defensively, and we lost. So, I don't think that's a very good game. But I'm happy to see him score a lot. It's good to see that even in bad games, he's scoring 28 points. He almost got us back in the game late, as I talked about earlier. But, yeah, it is what it is. He's averaging 24 points a game right now, which is 19th in the NBA. If you were to tell me that Norman Powell before the season was going to be a top 20 scorer in the NBA, I would have been like, man, Clippers are going to be insane this year. So, it is what it is, right? Can't get mad at your play. You're not going to have 82 good games. But, again, a bad game for Norman Powell being 28 points, will absolutely take that. So, as far as Norm, one thing I have to say about him is that he's starting to go back to trying to show people that, look, Darian was wrong. Dime Dropper was wrong. I have a bag. And because in the beginning of the season, I was like, oh, I was dead wrong maybe. Norman Powell has more self-creation than I thought. But then the last couple of weeks, he's gone back to more, really just playing off the catch, attacking closeouts, coming off screens, that kind of stuff when it comes to his scoring. the last couple of games, he's trying to get back to his downhill game. And one thing I'll say is he doesn't have a crazy bag with a crazy handle and a ton of moves, but he's got a great first step. And sometimes that's all you really need. A lot of the best scorers of all time didn't have a bunch of crazy dribble moves. I mean, if you go back to the days where you weren't even allowed to put your hand on the side of the ball or underneath the ball or in the lower quarter or third of the ball, you didn't have that same creativity with the handle that you had in the and one era and the post-Iverson era. So you had to just create space in different ways. And a lot of it was just if you had a good first step, you had a huge advantage. Norman Powell does have a good first step. So I don't know. Overall, though, I'm still, super happy with what I'm seeing from Norm. He had a great first quarter, but he was pretty cold in that second quarter. And to be honest, I don't want to say the rest of the game because he caught fire a little bit in that fourth, but it wasn't his best game. Let's put it that way. Now, as far as James Harden, he didn't start the game very well. He had 2 turnovers very quickly. One was on a jump pass. The other was on a bad outlet. But he did get an early bucket, had a nice driving kick to Derrick Jones Jr., who missed the 3 on it. But, he started out with another 4-turnover first quarter, which he had in the other game that we won. But I just don't think that sets a very good precedent. He played the whole first quarter. He was the only Clipper to play the whole first, but 4 turnovers in the first, he's better than that, in my opinion. This game was also interesting because the refs, they were calling everything in the first quarter, and then they stopped calling everything. They were letting them play a lot. I thought in the second quarter when we went cold, though, James Harden did restore order when he came in. I mean, we were missing a lot of good looks at threes, but just, without James Harden, our offense is not that good. You know how it goes. Just not that good without him. We don't have Kawhi still. Second quarter, we shot 4 for 18 from the field and 1 for 12 from 3. Norman Powell was 1 for 8 from the field and 0 for 5 from deep in that quarter and played every second of it. So, yeah, he went from not missing to can't hit. And Klay Thompson, on the other hand, in that second quarter went 4 for 4. So, that was pretty rough. At halftime, we were down 54-40. But in the third quarter, Norm did a good job at times getting into the paint. Harden, I thought his defense was actually decent. He had some good moments of getting his hand in the passing lanes or just around the ball, but he was missing shots and took some bad threes, in my opinion, and then still turned the ball over a decent amount. In the third quarter, we actually did, though, outscore the Mavericks 26-20, and we clamped down a bit defensively, forced 4 turnovers, held them to 40% shooting, but we didn't even shoot well still. Zoo did, and Chris Dunn made 2 threes, but James played the entire third quarter, went 2 for 8. You know what I mean? He didn't have a very good third quarter. And Norm 1 for 5. So my point I'm trying to make is even with the last push from Norm, our 2 best players weren't good enough, to get a win on the road, unless you get huge contributions from other guys. Just don't think he was quite good enough. But yeah, it is what it is. It happens. Coming up, though, going to be talking about the other guys, including Kevin Porter Jr. and Mo Bamba. A lot of fans had things to say about them. And with Kevin Porter Jr., I've been pretty critical of him. But what did I think of this performance, given that he was our second leading scorer? Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Built. Today's episode is sponsored by Built Rewards. If you're a renter, listen up. This is a total game changer. Thanks to Built, you can now earn points on rent payments, just like you do with groceries or travel. Paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join. Earn valuable Built points on your rent and everyday spending at no extra cost. Redeem points towards flights, hotel stays, and even future rent payments. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program, the possibilities are endless. Access unique experiences that are exclusive to Built members. Start earning points on rent you've already paid by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use our link so they know we sent you. Don't wait. Start earning rewards today. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And FanDuel has so many different ways for you to pick up a W. Right now, I know it has nothing to do with FanDuel. My fantasy football team is in the championship. And I have a pot. That's what makes it exciting. But with FanDuel, of course, as I said, you can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, you can earn money all the time. Way better than fantasy. Let's see the upcoming games. You got Green Bay and New Orleans. Monday Night Football. The Packers are minus 14.5 for that one. 14.5. And then we have a Wednesday game. Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Kansas City is minus 2.5. Oh, that's Christmas. What am I saying? And then you have the Baltimore Ravens at the Houston Texans. Ravens are minus 3.5. Seahawks playing the Bears. Actually, that's going to be on Thursday. But where can you go for all this? FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Clippers losing this one 113-97. They move on to 16-13 and 6-7 on the road. Didn't shoot well in this one, 42% from the field and 27% from three. Turned the ball over 17 times, and we got a combined 14 for 40 from Norman James. Other guys, how about Zubats? I mean, I thought he was, in the first half, he gave up like 3 offensive rebounds. And when I say like 3, I mean a minimum of 3. Where Derek Lively got a rebound, he just wasn't blocking out, wasn't putting a body on a guy. And look, it's one thing to get your body in front, but you got to get low, get your butt into him, and then explode. A lot of no exploding from Zoo. If you're going to just put your arms up and Derek Lively's going to jump, you're not going to win that battle. You know what I'm saying? You got to get into him and only allow him to jump up straight and not forward. Make him get that over the back. Now, that's another thing. When we were broke in that second quarter, couldn't make a shot, we were also not rebounding. And it's not a good combination, especially when we turned the ball over 7 times in the second quarter. But yeah, the third quarter, I thought Zoo cleaned it up a bit. He had 2 straight offensive rebounds and 5 points off of them. And that led a 9-0 run that when we were down 47-61, it got it to 56-61. And then they started doubling Zoo in the post. I thought he did an okay job passing out of it, but it just shows you what kind of respect Zoo's getting right now from opposing defenses. Now, let's talk about KPJ for a sec, because there's not much to say about guys like Derrick Jones Jr. He was still in a minutes restriction. He had 4 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 1 turnover on 2 for 6 shooting. Missed all 4 of his threes. Was perfect from 2. And didn't get a free throw. So still in the minutes restriction, still on the quieter side. Chris Dunn, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block to go along with 1 turnover on 3 for 7 shooting. 3 for 6 from 3, which was a great sign. But Chris Dunn, he got caught gambling way too much. Jumping into the passing lane, selling out for steals, and not getting them. If you're going to sell out, you got to get the steal. Otherwise, you're putting the defense in a compromised situation. And that happened several times. So he's got to be careful with that. Kevin Porter Jr., though. I actually thought he played well in this game. He was our second leading scorer. He was efficient. He had 19 points, 10 of them in the fourth quarter on 8 for 12 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. So 66% from the field and 3 in 27 minutes. 19, 2, and 3. But he did turn the ball over 4 times. So if you combine James Harden and KPJ, that's 11 turnovers combined. But let me just say this about Kevin. I thought he played well, right? I go on Twitter, everyone's bashing him. I'm like, what is happening? Am I not seeing something? People are saying that I've been hating on KPJ. I've been harsh on him because I say that even when he plays well, we don't win games, which, again, this game is another example of that. But I went back because I don't like to be influenced by people like that. And everybody has their own agenda and lens of the game. Lens is different from an agenda. I think a basketball lens is you have certain convictions and certain things that you believe in the game of basketball philosophically. And then agenda is when you try to just prove something because you like something a lot or you hate something a lot. So here's how I put it. I looked back at all the buckets that the Dallas Mavericks scored in the fourth, and a lot of them were KPJ's mistake, whether it be he wasn't doing a good enough job on the ball, or he was losing sight of his man, or he was helping off Quentin Grimes when he was scorching from 3, not getting back in transition, those kinds of things. Do I think it cost us the game? No. But there's just so much bad and good with KPJ. And I thought Mo Bamba was our worst player in the rotation. He just doesn't really have fundamentals. His footwork's choppy. I still believe he's kind of a fake pick and pop big. 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 block on 1 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3. Right now he's shooting 23% from deep and 40% from the field. I don't know. I said I'd never seen anything in Mo Bamba. He's had some decent games for us, but he's exactly what I saw on the Lakers and on these other teams. I just feel like he's kind of a bust. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but how much better is he than Kai Jones, really? I don't know. I thought he wasn't good. But KPJ, like, the moral of the story with him, I still stand by my conviction that, like, I'd give Bones a shot. But KPJ, like, I don't think he was that bad in this game, actually. I think he was pretty good in this game. I think people on Twitter are even more of haters, quote unquote, than I am. I wouldn't even call myself a hater of KPJ. I just don't think he just dribbles too much. And we already have Harden out there. But at least Harden, he's such a great shot creator. He's such a good passer. KPJ is not a very good passer. He's very average. And he takes a lot of tough shots. Doesn't get a ton of separation. He can create shots better than almost anybody else on the team. That's the thing. Besides Harden. Even better than Norm. But they're not really high-quality shots. That's the thing. And, I mean, nowadays the mid-range shot is more for stars because they run pick and rolls and stuff like that. And I saw a graph on Twitter or some kind of chart that was showing which players shoot the most mid-ranges. And KPJ was like the only star caliber player on there. And I just was like, I don't know. Like, is he really better than Bones? I don't know. Let me know, by the way. So let me ask you the question. Was KPJ good or bad in your opinion? Because Twitter has their opinion. That's a section of Clipper fans. It's a minority. Social media is a minority. So let me hear what you had to think about his performance. As far as Nicholas Batum, I mean, he was pretty quiet. He had 3 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers, thankfully, and didn't even get 1 shot off, but he made all 3 of his free throws. And Amir Coffey, what a ghost in this game. 0 points, 0 for 1, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Thankfully, no turnovers, but played 22 minutes and didn't score? It's not like him, especially this season. But I guess that's it. Talked about everybody. I mean, Zubac's had a double-double, 13 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block, but he still turned the ball over twice. And I don't know. I thought he was okay. 6 for 10? Why doesn't he get the ball more when he's 6 for 10? Although he was getting doubled, but I don't know. It was a tale of 2 halves for Zub with me, in my opinion, and it's a 2 halves to a basketball game. So I don't think anybody was that good. Besides, I think Kevin Porter Jr. honestly might have been our best player. And by the way, we went 9 deep, so no Jordan Miller really until garbage time. James Harden, by the way, 19 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. I did think he played good D. 7 turnovers on 6 for 18 shooting, 2 for 9 from 3, 5 for 5 from the foul line. Wasn't his night. He played 37 minutes. Zubac's played 34. We lost by 16. It is what it is. But we got the Grizzlies on Monday. That should be fun. They've been playing some really good basketball, and it'll be really interesting to see how we guard them because they have this new offense that's actually, I really like this, different than every other team. They don't set a bunch of screens. I think they only have 7% of their offense is like screen and roll. So that's the lowest in the league by a lot. So I'm really excited to see how we defend guys just moving in open space, kind of like it's organized pickup ball. So in a good way. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching just pickup when I watch NBA teams. Just high pick and roll, spread, drive and kick, every time down. It's just like, settling for so many quick shots. And they're high percentage, not high percentage, but like they're decently good shots, but just feels so casual to me. It'll be interesting to see how we guard those kinds of, that kind of team. So anyway. So I meant the pickup comment in respect to them playing a free-flowing system of just read and react. But you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I went live to talk about the games for the weekend for both LA teams on my channel. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. Help get us up to 7,000 subs. We want to start catching up. We're like, I think, 20th right now in terms of subscribers and Locked On NBA channels. Let's get into that top half of the league. Let's show everybody that we have the most loyal fan base in the NBA. And, of course, you can also get news from your boy with The Locked On Clippers daily newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage. It's lockedondaily.com. Your boy writes that I spent time on it, and it would really help if you subscribed or signed up. Memphis Clippers, Monday night. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.